Hello, and I would like to welcome you all for a discussion about the update on the Sunday law. While the world is so distracted with the Ukraine versus Russia war and the other um, pestilence that are still being sidelined, we who are believers of the Word of God must remember what it means to believe in the prophetic word of the Lord through His messenger. I would like to share with you today an article that I found in the Deseret News. It is entitled "Could Sabbath Closure Laws Make a Comeback?" And this was written by Kelsey Dallas, January 11, 2022. And I'd like us to listen to what she has to say. And I'll give my comments as we try to understand what's going on. But before we read this article, I would like to read to you the messenger of the Lord who said, 1909, in her manuscript releases, volume 4, 270, page 278. Soon the Sunday laws will be enforced, and men in positions of trust will be embittered against the little handful of God's commandment-keeping people. One of the statements in her book, Last Days Events, about the coming of the Sunday law. So let us go to this article. Could Sabbath closure laws make a comeback? Here's why some political commentators and legal scholars are tweeting their support for taking a Sabbath. Now, for those of you who have no background on what the Sabbath is all about, this is a once-a-day rest. And for Bible-believing Christians, this is Saturday, the seventh day of the week, as immortalized or commemorated. And God says, remember, in Exodus chapter 20, verse 8, and repeated in the book of Deuteronomy, and pronounced by Jesus, not only in words, but also in action when he was here on earth. Remember, Jesus was a Jew. He made a custom, he had a custom, he accomplished his custom that every Sabbath he would go to synagogue as he rested and as he read and as he mingled and fellowship with his people, and also declaring his ministry to the Gentiles, to those who are poor and oppressed, blind, crippled, and those who are in need of healing. And so this was the Sabbath. But now the Sabbath that we are being told, or the Sabbath that we are being asked to stop working or rest, is Sunday, the first day of the week, which we call the Roman Catholic Sabbath. That's the mark of his power. That's the traditional change from the seventh day Sabbath, which they call derogatorily Jewish Sabbath, to the Christian Sabbath, which is the first day of the week. But the Sabbath here in this article is about Sunday, the first day of the week. The writer says here, even before the COVID-19 pandemic began, Americans were overworked and tightly wound. In the past years, the situation's only gotten worse. Now, the word wound is prophetic. Whether the author may have read this before or not, or inadvertently just use the word wound, this has significance to the Adventist movement during the time of the great pioneering Reformation in North America. So tightly wound reminds me of the great wound that was healed from the prophetic books of Daniel and Revelation, the deadly wound that was healed according to the book of Revelation, which we interpret Adventist as to be the resurgence of the papal power in Rome. So it's interesting why she wrote tightly wound, referring to the Americans in the past 2 years, and the situation's only gotten worse. Seems to make sense. Now let's go here. Pandemic-related stress and widespread desire for more time to rest are among the factors fueling the Great Resignation. Yes, I read and I heard about this Great Resignation. People are not happy with their maybe work payment or their hours, childcare issues, nursing issues, and home dynamic issues, and of course, not to disclaim the lockdowns and the vaccine mandates and all of these restrictions, and that's why people right now, specifically the truckers, are clamoring or protesting to give back their freedom. Here in the United States, it happened in Canada and elsewhere, in France, New Zealand, Australia, and those Western democracies who so hardly implemented or so tough in restricting their citizens or the people in their respective countries. And that's why we have this truckers protest. They call themselves freedom convoys and people's convoys, and it's spreading in Western democracy. It's just that the mainstream media does not feature this in a way that will highlight their grievances, but because the media have other agenda like warmongering and fixating the people about revenge, avenge, and death and destruction, which to me makes sense because the media has their counterparts in the military industrial complex, those who are selling weapons and manufacture materials for mass destruction are so excited and so enthused because it makes more money, billions, if not trillions of dollars behind the scenes. But death and destruction are the result, which is satanic and devilish. But going back to our article, the Great Resignation. So here, let me continue reading. They also help explain why some political commentators and legal scholars spent the weekend debating the Sabbath. Now, remember, this was written January 11, 2022, published by Deseret News, and it's just about a month or so, and we are being conditioned or being told that people are now interested all of a sudden to perhaps mandate, perhaps restrict movements once a week, and that is Sunday. Now, why is this significant for me or for those who are Adventists or those who are waiting for the second coming of Jesus Christ, literally and biblically? Because this has to do with the prophecy of God's messenger, Ellen G. White, that Sunday law proponents are working through darkness within and without our church also. We are being conditioned to receive, which we call the mark of the beast, which is Sabbath Sunday keeping, not the Sabbath seventh day. The mark of the beast in the pioneer's mind of the Seventh-day Adventist Church was the Roman Catholic imposition of its day of worship, which is Sunday. And it makes sense to me And for the majority of so-called Roman Catholic faithful, they may not understand, or the evangelical Christians at large, because they also keep Sunday as the Sabbath, which is not what the Bible uh, tells us to observe and to keep. But in anyhow, this is interesting because there will be people, as I have mentioned earlier, there will be people, few of them, who will be affected. They are the Seventh Day Adventists. They are the Seventh Day Baptists and other smaller groups that are called fringe minority or conspiracy theorists by political leaders and by those who don't understand Bible prophecy and who have their own agendas. So why is this clearly significant? Because, friends, one, prophecy is fulfilling. Two, we are being distracted. Three, it's obvious a deception, but still we will be forced, coerced, or imprisoned if we don't follow. So we must follow. That's the argument. Religious freedom will be at stake, but it will not be too pronounced because the world is so distracted. Look at the COVID-19 situation, friends. The COVID-19 situation brings to core the control of the government, the control of the few. You got to have masks. You got to be immune. Vaccinated. Everything is just setting aside freedom. In this sense, in the religious sense, it is possible, as it has happened in the past 2 years. It is possible that there will be no resistance if majority will impose Sunday keeping, stopping work, stopping from all secular work, and also restricting movements. And at the same time, if those who will not adhere or follow or obey, they will be persecuted or punished. And all of these had been prophesied since 1800s, and also made clear by Ellen G. White and the other Protestant reformers in the early 1900s. So that is the reason. Those are the reasons, why this is significant. Okay, let us go back. The conversation began with a tweet from Adrian Vermeule, a law professor of Harvard University. He highlighted the reinstatement of Sabbath laws as one of several policy goals that unites post-liberals, group of conservatives who say they're focused on promoting the common good, which is what Francis, the Pope, is promoting, common good. So meaning to say, Sunday keeping now is the common good. If you are against Sunday keeping, which is being promoted or being revived, because this is the clamor, you will be a pariah. You will be like what's happening now to Russia. You are going to be, even though you have not done anything wrong, but you have not conformed to the norms and the collective efforts of the powerful, then you will be a pariah. So you might be arguing, well, Russia is different from those who don't obey Sunday Sabbath. Well, look at the history. There are people who read the Bible in the Dark Ages who were murdered and annihilated. Genocide of the Jews, the hatred for those who have this tradition of worshiping on the Sabbath and observing the Sabbath, the true Sabbath, which is Saturday, and the hatred for God's people who kept the seventh-day Sabbath. So those histories are at the forefront of why this is clearly an important matter. Now, about Russia and Ukraine, I cannot dispense judgment because this is a geopolitical situation, which is, I understand, to be about security, about um, threats and about counter threats and about dominance and about economy, water, land, and oil. Those three elements are in play. But I could not condemn what are the motives of these tyrants of, because there are so many tyrants in the world, not only in Russia, but remember Germany, remember the United States, remember the United Kingdom. Why? Well, if it is done by Putin, it is evil. But if it's done by Bush, Blair, and the NATO, it seems it's not evil. But that is not the truth. Remember Iraq. Iraq was invaded without being without attacking the United States or NATO countries, but collectively they unilaterally, collectively NATO, unilaterally America invaded Iraq with the pretext of finding weapons of mass destruction, which until now was a complete lie. And Afghanistan, Syria, the Middle East, Somalia, and the other. So everybody who are running the world are guilty in some sense or the other. Nobody can say they are the good or the others are the bad. Everybody has taint, has blood, has corruption in their hands. I'm referring to the government. So what is happening now, playing out in Ukraine and Russia? They are just the result of centuries, if not millennia, of wars and dominance and trying to take over resource-rich countries. And not far behind will be China and Taiwan and the other countries in Southeast Asia. So everyone must not be quick to judge or to condemn, because you have to look at this from the lens of what had happened in the past. So I would say Blair, Bush, NATO, Putin, they're all tyrants in some respects. They're all guilty of death of millions and guilty of lies and deception, including the present governments. So nobody should be pointing to other people about their mistakes or their evil deeds, because no one is innocent in the government. No one. It's just the media trying to shape the narrative, which, if you are thinking, if you are clear about it, it is just a smoke screen. The weapons manufacturers in the United States and UK, United Kingdom, are laughing all the way to the bank, so to speak. They have billions and billions of dollars. They don't care about lives. They don't care about properties. All they care about are their profits, and that is clear. That is whatever you will say, that is what is happening. So the devil would like us to be distracted. That's what I'm trying to say here. The devil wants us to go somewhere and to see other issues other than what God commanded us to observe, to remember, and to obey. So now go back to the Sabbath. The common good that the Pope and the Western world would like us to accept is, now that's brewing, Sunday keeping, stoppage of work, blue laws in the United States, which has been there, has been voted, but it has not been completely enforced. So that's why my question is, will it be mandated again with persecution? We will know. So Sabbath laws, which are also known as blue laws, were once a major part of American life. True, very true. Although they came in a variety of forms, the policies had a shared purpose, limiting certain commercial activities to 6 days per week. In other words, blue laws forced both business owners and the people they serve to take day of rest. Forced, that's the word, forced. And under past policies, that day was almost always Sunday. Of course, that is Sunday, the majority. That is not the Bible Sabbath, that is the papal Sabbath. So, what is the implication? Those of us who clearly believe in the commandments of the Lord, we will be sidelined, marginalized, ostracized, and perhaps going to be fined, persecuted, and punished because our day begins on the first day of the week. We work on Sunday and we rest on Saturday. So that is already a tension. That is already what they call this a conflict. And that is part of the great controversy. That's a part of great conflicts between Christ and Satan, Sabbath and Sunday. Yes, that is the biblical conflict. The first war began because the devil would like to the devil accused God and his government of being a tyrant, of being a dictator, so to speak, an evil God, so to speak, because he is keeping the Sabbath, or he is giving his created beings the one day of rest, in terms of Adam and Eve, in terms of the unfallen worlds. So this is the conflict in a larger conflict. And people may not think, oh, that's no big deal. Well, it's a big deal for those who believe in the Bible, for those who are consistently preaching about the Sabbath, the three angels' message, which is including the Sabbath. The first message is about fear God and give glory to Him and worship Him. It's about worship God on His day appointed, not man's day appointed. So this is the challenge, and this is the issue. So what the author is saying is truth, and I cannot disagree. Let's continue reading. Until the last few decades, Sabbath laws effectively shut down Sunday commerce in much of the country. Joel Mathis noted in Monday column for The Week. Blue Law's association with the Christian Sabbath helps explain why part of the debate surrounding Bermula's tweet centered on religious discrimination. Legal experts pointed out that forced closures on Sunday disproportionately harm, sorry for that. I'm not a first native English speaker. This is my second language. So bear with me, but I hope you just take the message. Disproportionately harm some people of faith, including Jews who observe the Sabbath from sundown on Friday to sundown on Saturday. Correct, include the Seventh-day Adventists, maybe it's here. Similar religious freedom concerns fueled the legal challenge to blue laws that the Supreme Court heard in the early 1960s. Representatives of a discount store in Maryland alleged that the state Sunday closure policies violated the Constitution's free exercise and establishment clauses, correct? In May 1961, the Supreme Court ruled 8-1 that Maryland's Sabbath laws didn't violate the First Amendment. Now there you go. It depends on who are sitting on the bench, the Supreme Court of the United States. And I'm afraid right now it is skewed because majority of those who are in the Supreme Court are Roman Catholic Sunday keepers, and those who are the minority, they don't have a clue of what the Bible really says about the Sabbath, Saturday, as the day of rest. So we are on a precipitous plane wherein we are on the brink of seeing the fulfillment of Sunday law by Sunday rest by law, with punishment and discrimination and perhaps fine. Remember the COVID-19 mandates? It might be what we will be expecting in the future, sooner, I believe. The justices acknowledged that the restrictions had their roots in Christian practice, but said they serve important secular purposes, including the promotion of public health. Oh boy, once public health is into the mix, religious freedom is out the door. I'm telling you, this is not alarming. This is not surprising. God has given us messengers, prophetic messengers, a long time ago. We have been warned. And so we must, I'm talking to the Seventh-day Adventists, whether in diaspora or in the organization or home church or conference-based or smaller groups, listen to this article, seemingly unpopular, but this is the meat of the great controversy. But in a legal sense and in a way that people could either accept or not, public health, just like the climate change. It will involve public health. It will involve survival, existentialism, meaning to say, your freedom, my freedom, ends when public health and the world's existence begin. A repeat of the Dark Ages arguments, a repeat of the greatest persecution that had happened, those who keep the Sabbath and those who the Jews, they were singled out in the Roman empires because of their peculiar obedience to the word of God and to the commandments of the Lord. The question is, will history repeat itself? The question is, will Sunday law, blue laws in the United States, be mandated again? I believe it's happening, and we must be prepared now, Seventh-day Adventist, and those who are keeping the seventh-day Sabbath. All right, here we are. Although the ruling was significant, it did not guard against Sunday law's demise. Soon after the Supreme Court used secular arguments to rule in favor of blue laws, policymakers across the country began using secular arguments to justify their repeal. In 2019, officials in North Dakota offered by them familiar arguments to explain their support for overturning the nation's last statewide ban on Sunday trading. They said the move would promote personal freedom and help business owners by boosting revenue. Who but a few scolds could complain, asked Skrav Amari in recent Wall Street Journal column about the fall of Sabbath laws. We are encouraged to pursue lives of constant action and purpose, and we do. What this looks like in practice is that few Americans prioritize taking time to rest, and that even those who do often fail, whether because of their kids demanding extracurricular schedules, their smartphones, incessant beeping, or countless other obstacles. Rest is hard to come by these days, argued Mathis in the week, noting that pandemic-related developments have deepened this already common problem. For many Americans, the pandemic has given rise to remote work that has blurred the divisions between home and labor, while working class folks are often subject to just-in-time scheduling that makes home life difficult to sustain, he wrote. Frustration with the status quo fueled engagement with Vermeule's tweet. People from across the political and religious spectrum generally agree that Americans could benefit from being forced to take at least one day off each week, just like the argument you will benefit and others if you wear mask constantly and also be fully vaccinated with all the boosters. However, consensus would likely fall apart quickly if conservatives insisted on reinstating blue laws in their old form. It would be better to mandate rest on a day that doesn't raise religious freedom concerns, tweeted Her, a columnist for The Nation. Elevator pitch a secular Sabbath that starts on Thursday evening. This will create a 4-day work week and also preserve religious neutrality. Oh, wow. That could be another alternative. Thursday will be the Sabbath. Okay. Workers may love this idea, but any sort of one-size-fits-all closure policy would cause problems. As many respondents to here's tweet pointed out, for example, Larry Yodelson, the editorial director for a Jewish press, noted that the Jews would struggle to prepare for their religious Sabbath if stores were closed during the days on Fridays. The best solution to burnout, at least in the short term, might be for individual Americans to find ways to take a rest on their own terms. Some Christian business owners, including the family behind Chick-fil-A, already do this by voluntarily closing up shop on Sundays. Other Americans observe a digital Sabbath by turning off the notification on their phone. Even just leaving your phone behind when you get lunch is a step in the right direction, reported the New York Times in a 2019 article on reducing stress. So there you go, people of God and those who are listening. The piece about, is it possible to mandate again blue laws which restricts commerce and secular movements? The prophecy is clear. The behavior of governments nowadays clearly points to harsh, punitive, controlling actions for the minority, especially if you are against or you do not conform to the will of the government. So Sister Ellen G. White, let me repeat what she said. Soon, this is 1909, the Sunday laws will be enforced and men of position of trust will be embittered against the little handful of God's commandment-keeping people. Embittered, meaning to say, they may claim to be Christians, but they will act like a dragon, act like a devil, just like the United States. It looks like lamb-like. It looks like a lamb-like beast, but it speaks like a dragon. Outward, it's a sheep. Inward, it's a wolf. And you are seeing that now. And you are opening your eyes and your hearts and your minds to the truth of the prophecy. So what is your take and what is my take? Of course, everyone needs a day of rest once a week. And that's why I would like to encourage you, try Friday night. Clear your schedules and stay with your family, be with your family. Rest from all those mundane activities and technologies that distracts you. And observe the Sabbath rest with your family and those you love, and worship the Lord with hymns and with praises and with song, and you will see the difference in your life. You know, the reasons why people are so stressed up is because people are selfish, people are greedy, people are insecure, people are so confused of what is happening with their bodies, with their minds, with their energy, with their heart, with their soul. They don't know what's happening. And only the Bible gives us the guidance and the solution and the wisdom. And people tend to not read the Bible, tend to not believe what the Bible says. So now it's time to take the Bible seriously, especially what God commands. So the 7-day Sabbath, the Saturday, is the day of rest. And should we rest? Yes. 24 hours. It is good for us. The problem right now in the secular world, in the political world, is they would like to impose the Sabbath, not Saturday, but Sunday. Well, that is clearly a violation of God's law. And they will enforce it eventually. They will find a way to destroy God's people because that's the agenda of the devil. And remember, the devil controls this earth. The devil had controlled the governments. You can see that in wars, rumors of wars, famines, pestilence, earthquakes, crimes. What does the government do? What do they do? Well, politics is just deception disguised in legal terms and legal ways. So who are enriching themselves? The politicians. Do they care about the people? I cannot say for others, but I don't think they care for the welfare of the people of God. So friends, Let us remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day, the Sabbath of the Lord thy God, in it thou shalt not do any work. You and your son, your daughter, your maid servant, manservant, your cattle, your anything within thy gates, even the strangers. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the Sabbath day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. The 7th day, Sabbath Saturday, will be a focal point. And when public health is involved, persecution and punishment follows for those who will not obey the dictates of the government. May God continue to bless you and keep you.